But you're probably gonna like the tractor that I have. This is the only tractor that I have that's of this kind, but you're probably gonna like this tractor. Okay, it should be up now. I'm also gonna pull it up just so I can keep track of stuff, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's the Big Bud. Keep in mind that this is a modded game, and I use the Big Bud just because a lot of the tractors you can't really transport a lot of stuff because the requirements to pull them is too high. So I use this tractor because it can pull anything. But this is the Big Bud. I like the Big Bud. Have you used it? But you like my tractor? I can even get this. I can also have this with 3 wheels. So instead of having the 2 wheels everywhere, I can have 3 wheels everywhere. Once I'm done cultivating, I'll show you my semi. Actually, I'll show you my semi. Give me a second. Where is it? Here it is. This is what I use to transport all of my stuff when I go to sell. Let me know when you see it. But this is what I use to transport my crops when I go to sell. Do you see it? Yeah, that's my semi. That's what I use when I go to sell. It transports my crops and everything when I go to sell. But you're saying that in Australia people would kill to get a Big Bud? Why? So I'm guessing a Big Bud is gold in your country. Don't want a tractor like this. You know that this is a Russian tractor, right? Yeah. But you're saying to have a tractor like this is gold. But I'm guessing a tractor like this is gold in your country. But what about this cultivator that I have in the back? Do you see my cultivator that I'm using? So I guess it's mainly to better your equipment and more bragging rights. Now, when I'm done cultivating, you're going to see all of the machinery that I have, because I have all of my machinery in the same general area. And when you see my machinery, let me know how much bragging rights I would have if I were to come to your country with this machinery. Okay? I know, but just let me know, like, if I was if I was a citizen of your country and not a foreigner, just let me know what bragging rights I would have when you see my machinery. Okay? But all of my machinery is in the general location. I do a lot of grains, multiple grains, sunflowers and corn. Not just wheat. I'm gonna be passing my semi and stuff once I'm guessing you can see my semi parked up there. This is the cultivator. There's my harvester. And then here's my other machinery. That right there, that big red one, that's a header for my harvester. This green thing, that's my my planter, and this red one is my seeder. The green one is my my planter, and this red one is my seeder. So what bragging rights would I have? I only have 23,000 right now, but that's because I bought this thing that I'm hooking up to right now. I just recently bought this. That's why I don't have a whole lot of money at the moment. But if you look near where my speedometer is, you can see what I have, what I'm planting right now with my seeder. Can you see what it says? Next to my speedometer. Next to my speedometer. Sunflowers. This one right here is specifically for this one, and this thing can plant sunflowers, corn, sugar beets, cotton, and that's specifically what this field is for. The other fields are for my grains, because there's more grains that you can plant than you can with than these ones. So this is my specialist field, because sunflowers and corn and all that are considered a more specialist kind of crop. So this is my specialist field because it's bigger, and specialist crops take up more space. So. While this guy is cultivating, I'm going to go into his cell. See, what's the best place I can sell? I'm going to be selling oats, so what's the best place I can sell my oats? I know, but it's just what I have at the moment. I'm still collecting my other crops. Anyway, do you see me driving my semi? That's purple. It's a purple cab. It's a purple cab, and it's midnight. It's a midnight purple, my favorite color. And then I couldn't really change the color of the trailer. You see how fast I'm going? It's okay. You ready? Did you see how much I just made? $14,677. You'll see it when it pops up. Did you? You can pop. Do you see what I'm opening on the top of my trailer at the moment? This cover. Do you let me know if you do you know what the cover is used for? No, you'll see it when I pick some up. No, you'll see. So if I'm going down like a hill or I'm driving too fast, you have a chance of your crops losing your crops because of the speed. Because you see how they generate that dust? I do that, so if I'm going too fast, they don't blow out of my trailer. I'm studying sunflowers now. But that's why I have this on cover. It's because it keeps them from blowing out of my trailer. You know what I mean? Okay. By the way, yeah. Do you want to see the XL of my semi? Let me know if you see it. I mean, in real life, it's not nearly as fast as a supercar, but for a semi, it's fast, right? Okay, by the way, when you see my money going up, you're going to see it go up again, and you're going to see how fast it goes up. And let me know when you see my money go up. Oop. Did you see my money go up? Oops, well, there goes the sign. What? I know. Because I accidentally knocked down a sign. Also, tell me if you saw the braking of my truck just now. Did you see the braking? Not realistic for a semi. You destroyed a train? I wonder if you can. Can you tell what this is? Wait until you see how big it is. It's unfolding right now. Let me know when you see how big it is. It's a 14-footer. And there are ones in this game that are bigger than this. So keep that in mind. This plants my grains. Yeah, but keep in mind, there are ones that are bigger than this. I only planted the high-value grains and crops. You can probably guess why. I don't know if you see the full power of my big bud. We're going up that hill. You did? A big bud? What about the other machinery, or is it mainly just a big bud? So it's mainly not the machinery, it's the tractor that gives you bragging rights. Yeah. Just keep in mind that this specific thing right here requires 650 horsepower, and my big bud has 1100, so... What? My big bud? Are you saying a lot of required horsepower or a lot of horsepower with my big bud? So it's not so much the horsepower required by the machine, it's the horsepower that my big bud has and not what the machine requires. Now keep in mind, it only has 1100 horsepower, but it can only drive at about 15-ish miles an hour without hauling something. Or did that make sense because it's a tractor? It makes sense? Are you still watching, or you're not watching? Would you be an off and on person if I was showing ESO, or no? So you probably want it, I'm guessing. And I just now realized I'm growing 3 crops of soybean. That's not that big of a deal. I just now realized I forgot to swap out my stuff. But that's okay, I need soybean, so... I mainly try to swap between my seeds per field, but I forgot to do that. But that's okay. That's soybean is a high value crop. I mean, I'll get more to sell, so guess it's not that big of a deal. Why is that? True. Yeah. Because of the whole pandemic stuff. When I hear landlord, somebody who owns the property that you live in and you rent from, and you give them money to maintain your rent, so you can continue to live on that property. For a landlord, depends. I don't really think landlords would always be the most good dressed unless they need to go and do an inspection or a meeting. I think the way they dress ultimately depends on the landlord and the value of and the amount of money they make and all that. So yeah. Because she's a pervert. Alright, while I wait for my crops to fill up, I'm gonna do some more selling. I sped up the time so that way my crops grow a little faster. You know what I mean? Need to push this out of the way a little bit. Let me know. Oh yeah, I forgot you're not watching. None, you don't need to. I'm just getting ready to sell some soybean. Oh, dang it. I just tipped. Not much. All I require is that you have at least one thing is a werewolf. You don't have to be very active if you don't want to. We're more of a laid-back, casual, hang out and do PvE kind of guild. You know what I mean? The only thing that I really ask is if our guild needs resources to do stuff, you help with guild event activities. So if I say, hey, hey everybody. If I'm talking to the pack and I say the pack is going to be going and doing a raid to a trial, you can go and do the trial. Not if you're strong enough to do the trial, you can go and do it. But hey, we're all going to go and do a dungeon, anybody down, kind of stuff like that. You don't have to be too active, but if you want to participate, you can. I request that you participate every once in a while. But keep in mind when I say that I try to be a very laid back kind of, you know what I mean by that? It's a kind of a laid back, casual kind of build. But also, if you know what I mean when I say that, to me, if you understand what I mean when I say this, we're a pack. we all share the blood of the wolf. We're a pack, so we're a family. If you know what I mean by packs of family, so yeah. Not a whole lot. It's mainly just the group that you've met so far. I'm still trying to get it bigger. Keep in mind that packs for like wolves and werewolves aren't normally the biggest, so you also got to keep in mind that our pack is a slow expansion because we don't have a whole lot of members, and you have to be able to bite somebody to turn them into a werewolf, and you can only bite somebody once every 7 days to turn them into a werewolf. So you got to keep that in mind. And I request what? Because of stuff. You know what? I'll tell you what. How about when you join, you help out with the guild. I'll help you level up so you can bite people. And once you get some reputation in the guild and you start leveling up so you can bite people, what if I promote you to a higher rank? Because instead of being a pup, I can make you like a hunter or something. And I give you an official rank like recruiter. Since you're saying stuff like that, what if I make you recruiter? So your job would be to go. So no. All you would have to do is just go world to world and just say, hey, and say the name of our guild. So like to say like let me just say a random name for a guild. Say like, hey, the Full Moon Pack is recruiting new members. All levels and skills welcome. Private PM me for an invite, stuff like that. I don't have a whole lot. The only DLCs I have are, I have some of the chapters, but the only DLCs I have are Dark Brotherhood and stuff like that. But you don't have to. All I would really ask of you is every once in a while, if you get the opportunity, just make a shout out for a guild that we're recruiting people, and just let people know that we ask that you have at least one character werewolf. That's all I ask. Is every once in a while make a shout out. Okay? Yes? I'm the guild leader. I'm not going to hand over my guild, but What? I probably won't have you fight me for my pack role, but what I may do is, if you want to become an officer, I'll have you fight me or one of my officers, and if you win, I'll make you an officer. What do you mean? If you were to defeat me at the same time? The way I would read it is, if you both defeat each other, it'll be a matter of who dies first. So if you died, and I just now realized I missed a spot on my sunflower field to grow, but it would ultimately depend on who dies first. So let's say you killed my officer first, but then you died to the bleeding. Since you technically killed him first, he died first, I would count that as you won, because technically he did die before you, if that makes sense. But that's what I may do. You can't like challenge me for control of the guild, but you can fight for officer role. Now, do you know what I mean by you have the alphas, then you have the betas, and then the warriors and hunters, and then the pups and all that? You know what I mean by all that? Well, I don't really have scouts. The ranks Omega is, if you're in trouble and you did something in the guild, instead of kicking you out, I'll make you an Omega. And Omegas don't have permissions in the guild at all. If you are a pup, you're a new recruit. You're brand new to the guild, new recruit, basic stuff. After you're in the guild for a bit and you've kind of helped out and all that, you become a warrior/hunter. Which, think of it as a pup is a new recruit to the guild, and a warrior/hunter is a full member. And then you have the betas, which are like my officers, and then you have the alphas, which are the leaders. I don't have an alpha female yet. It's only just me as the alpha male. I don't have any alphas yet, an alpha female yet. I don't have an alpha female yet, but I am the alpha male. I am the big head honcho, and I do have a couple betas. It's Silver and Buddha. They're the betas at the moment. But you know what I mean? So you'll be starting off as a pup, and after you're in the guild for a bit, you'll get ranked up to warrior/hunter. Now, keep in mind, at the moment, I believe I have the strongest werewolf form at the moment, and I believe Silver and Buddha also have maxed out werewolf forms. I think I'm probably a little better with werewolf form, but I do know that Silver and Buddha do have. Think of it as they are hard-hitting werewolves, and I'm a very tanky werewolf, if you know what I mean by that. And in ESO, you have damage, healing, healers, and tanks. I'm more of a tank in terms of my werewolf form. And you can probably guess why, as the alpha, that I'm kind of tanky. Can you? Why do you think, since I'm the alpha, why do you think as the alpha I'm tanky? Well, what happens if me, the alpha, what happens if I fall in combat? Keep in mind that it's mainly just roleplay. So, if I die in combat, I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna give up on the guild if I die in combat. You know what I mean? Because it's mainly just roleplay. But you don't want the alpha to die in a dungeon, so I'm gonna be tanky. And also, if I'm gonna lead the pack, as in like lead them through dungeons and stuff, wouldn't you want me to be tanky so I don't get killed easily? Oh great, it's raining. I can't harvest anything. So let me ask you this: would you be a AOE hitter, a damage over time hitter, an area of effect hitter, damage per second, which is DPS? Area of effect is basically you would put a damage spell in a specific area, and anything that goes in the area takes damage. That's an area of effect. And then DOT, or damage over time, is poison. So like poison would say like deal 1,000 damage every second for 10 seconds. That's damage over time. I'll show you sometime when I play a class. You'll see what I mean by. So yeah, so let's say if you're playing as, let's say, dual daggers, it ultimately depends on how quickly do you deal out damage. That's damage per second. Most people say that if you're going to be a DPS and you want to go into trials, they want you to deal 50,000 DPS. Which means that every few hits, they want you to be doing 50,000 damage. Well, keep in mind that in trials, almost every single enemy has like 3-4 million health, and bosses have like 30 million health. So, if you're going to be a damage, you need to be hitting hard. You know what I mean? My crops are ready to harvest, but if you want to get on and look at the map, you're going to see why I can't really harvest. No, it's raining. It's raining. And then do you know what HOT is? Heal over time. You have like heal over time, heal over time, heal over an area, and then heal area of effect damage over time, DPS. Only with healing, you don't have heal per second. You have what's called burst heal in ESO, if you know what burst heal is. When I burst heal is basically when I activate my healing ability, you just get instant health. That's burst heal. Instant health when I activate a healing ability. So if I activate the healing ability and you get an instant like 15,000 health, that's my burst. It's just instant health that you get when you heal. So I'm going to be playing my tank killer when I show you, because I can do damage as a werewolf, so you can see damage over time, and I'm also a tank and a healer, so you can also see healing and tanking as well. And also so that way you can kind of see just the sheer damage of werewolf. The only weakness of a werewolf is when you're in werewolf form, you're more susceptible to poison. You know what I mean? But it's better than having a permanent weakness to fire. Because werewolf form, you're only weak to poison if you're in your werewolf form. When vampires, it's a permanent weakness to fire. Yeah. Because vampire, you don't have a form that you can go in, and you have a permanent weakness to fire, and you have to feed like once an hour. It ultimately depends on if you want to do a trial. Dungeons is not really a requirement. Well, trials are literally, there's literally dungeons, and then there's things that are literally called trials. Yes, dungeons are generally 4 people, when a trial says that you would need 12 people. That's actually what they say. Trials are basically a 12-person dungeon, and a dungeon is a 4-person. That's the difference. Make sense? A trial is a 12-person, where the enemies are extremely overpowered, and then a dungeon is relatively easy, low level, and requires 4 people. Does that make sense? But that's the difference between a trial and a dungeon. One is harder and requires 12 people, one is easier and requires 4. We're not a large enough guild to do trials, so you don't have to worry about trials. Once I'm done harvesting, I'm going to get on the ESO and show you ESO. No, yeah, pretty much. And you need to have, and in my opinion, I say at least a month or 2 in the guild before you can fight my guys to be an officer.